Hey, Deanna Clark here, your cargo queen, and I'm here today to provide you with some key highlights of a recent executive order that will result in a major overhaul to how goods are entered into the United States. So this executive order, it's entitled Strengthening Customs Enforcement. And what it does is it's targeting evasion by importers, it's tightening requirements on foreign entities, and it significantly raises the stakes for noncompliance. Now, this video is going to focus on the impact to U.S. importers of record. There will be a separate video relating to the impact on foreign importers of record, all right? So, while this executive order, or EO, I'll call it, it targets different dates throughout the remainder of the year. Legislative recommendations are due by the end of July. And then there are other pertinent dates leading up to November 30th, 2026. So that is the 180-day marker. And within 180 days, U.S. Customs must implement new eligibility rules that require every importer of record, or IOR, as I may refer to it, to hold minimum tangible assets, domestic assets, that is, so here in the U.S., or bonding, and to submit expanded disclosures, so more than the current, customs entry summary form, but to submit expanded disclosures and maintain what is referred to as good standing. Now, some of the highlights of this executive order, and before going over that, I just want to point out that U.S. Customs has come out with a page in relation to this. And you can see the link up here, cbp.gov/trade/strengthening-customs-enforcement. Some of the highlights of this executive order, which of course Customs will be overseeing, is going to include this expanded data disclosures. So importers of record must provide additional information to CBP, including projected import volumes, business affiliations, beneficial ownership disclosures, foreign tax, and domestic asset details. In addition to this, there's going to be an asset and bond requirement. And so all IORs must maintain sufficient tangible US-based assets, so bonding or both. And the goal of this is just to ensure compliance with customs and trade laws. So you can also expect to see the minimum bond amount increase. Okay, circling back to this good standing requirement, Customs is going to base good standing on, an importer's compliance history. And so is it, how their payments have been? Has everything been on time? Have there been any enforcement actions, looking at the detention and seizure histories, any audits, et cetera? Now, importers of record who don't meet this standard, this good standing standard, they're going to be barred from importing, right? Now, there's going to also be enhanced continuous vetting. So oftentimes importers think, look, nothing is problematic. No one has said anything to me. But, from my perspective, having practiced customs law for over 20 years now, it's really not a question of if, it's a question of when. Customs has always put forward this idea that importing is a privilege. It's not a right. And, and so that's really something to bear in mind. And it's something that our Customs Commissioner Rodney had also reiterated in June as he was talking about this new executive order. So you want to have your I's dotted and your T's crossed to make sure that your compliance measures are in place. Turning to my fourth point, there's going to be this enhanced continuous vetting. All participants, in the supply chain, in this structure, ecosystem, if you will, of international trade. So your customs brokers, of course, freight forwarders, any custodian of bonded merchandise, there's going to be enhanced and recurring vetting. So while you're thinking, hey, no one's watching, everything's fine, no one's asking questions, keep in mind, actually, they are watching And as dots are connected, even if it's just a series of maybe yellow flags, not red flags, it's all adding to paint a picture of an importer. And so you want to be sure to have your compliance ducks in a row. And what does that even mean? It means that you know what your obligations are. So what under the customs regulations and statutes is applicable to the type of imports that you're doing. If you're importing food, you have certain requirements, on top of customs, but also that which relate to FDA. Does FDA have an import alert related to what I want to import? Is that going to cause a problem if I'm importing from so-and-so foreign factory? You want to be sure to find these things out. Is there a consumer product issue? Is there something related to children's wear, and making sure that you've got your general certificates of conformity related to those products, for flammability testing, et cetera. So this is what I mean. It's both customs related along with any other agency that your goods may have to do with, because U.S. Customs is the guardian of our border. And that being the case, they help police activities on behalf of all of these other government agencies. So turning then just to a fifth highlight to share, has to do with inactive importers of record. So Customs just wants to clean up their database, essentially. They're going to remove inactive importers of record. They're going to verify compliance of active ones, and they're going to assign risk tiers based on compliance history and audit results. So you just want to bear in mind that your current compliance and your past compliance, that's going to inform how it is that you're going to be treated today with respect to your ability to import. Just to give a definition, they are defining a U.S. importer of record as just that it must be organized under U.S. law. It must maintain its principal place of business here, so domestically, and that there are controlling beneficial owners who are either citizens of the U.S. or lawful permanent residents. So I know that's really going to impact foreign importers of record, DDP shipments, and I'll cover that in my sister video. Now, in terms of, hey, what if I get this wrong? Well, a couple of things, because Customs has had guidelines for reducing penalties, for decades now. And what they're going to do now is that they're going to establish a minimum penalty amount, a floor, if you will, of not less than 50% of the assessed penalty. So right now, again, I've been doing this for over 20 years. So right now, we have sometimes been able to not only just cancel any penalty outright, but sometimes, there's a nominal amount such as $500, first-time offender, and we're able to move through a penalty in that way. That's changing, right? So that's going to be done away with, and minimum liquidated damages will also increase. So it's just, there's going to be more to pay. Now, regarding seizures, those are also going to be more difficult to fight. So Customs is working to streamline the seizure and even the disposal of non-compliant shipments. So sometimes, something's come in, Customs has seized it, you have the option to just dispose of it. But what Customs is trying to do is just make it smoother so that where there is voluntary abandonment, that can happen. They want to increase the bond amount for high-risk cargo. And they also want to authorize third-party disposal services so that can happen along with expedited forfeiture processes under 19 U.S.C. 1612. So, essentially, Customs is taking the stance that, look, if you haven't abided by U.S. laws at the time of importation, if these goods don't, we're going to be seizing them faster, and we're going to be letting you retrieve them, throughout the seizure process, the administrative proceeding. It's just going to be happening less frequently. So anyway, lots of changes coming. We, have an outlook towards the end of the year for these things to be implemented. And it just means that it's time to start preparing yourselves, you importers, in ways that you really hadn't needed to think so much about. Of course, you always needed to, but I know a lot of importers sort of take this. I'd rather ask for permission. Sorry, I'd rather ask for forgiveness than permission. And, probably you want to go ahead and adjust your thinking on that at this time. So as always, I know importers, you regularly have questions. There can be things from even listening to this, and it's like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. It may be time to, to start talking to someone about these things. So if you want to connect with me, you can take a look down in the notes to the video, and it's all in there and how you can connect with us. All right, take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.